really hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like, and click the bell to be notified of more fantastic music content just like this. Welcome to the Need to Know Music Show with me, Ronan McManus, on here on Switchbox TV, and I am joined today by a singer-songwriter and spoken word artist who's known for her both brutally honest and beautiful music and poetry, approaching difficult subjects with positivity and clarity that is really inspiring. Please welcome Mary Lambert. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. What a wonderful intro.
Did you like my intro? Yeah.
That was really nice.
Excellent. I'm very. I'm always very happy when I like my intros. That's good. No, but it was one thing that was just I just found that it's really tough, and I was going to bring this up later, but I'll bring it up now because it's cropped up. But I think I really find it's sort of like hard to find that balance that you seem to strike so well between when people approach difficult subjects. You either sort of go almost wallowing is the wrong word, but in the kind of the details, or the other danger going the other way of the positive message is that you skate over all the details that are important.
Totally.
And so what I find you actually manage to strike that balance very well between the two things. So you still, the overarching message is still positive, but you don't sugarcoat it at all. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at in my intro there. And is that something that you work hard at, or is it something that you just kind of naturally been able to do?
Yeah, I love that observation. I feel like it's not conscious, because I feel like it's just what I want to capture is like an honest capture of the experience of what like having mental illness feels like, or what an experience feels like. And that it is multifaceted, and it is complicated, and it is complex, and it's not just a canned way of existing or moving through the world. Like depression doesn't just exist in this one canned way of living. And I think for like, I have bipolar disorder, so someone with bipolar disorder, it looks different for everybody. And people who have experienced trauma, that trauma looks different for everybody. And what I think is like important about telling honest narratives is really speaking the truth and saying exactly what it feels like. But when we are like inundated with specific narratives and stories that don't necessarily reflect how we feel, sometimes it feels like, oh, am I weird? Am I wrong for having this experience the way that I do? And for me, there is a lot of joy in coming out of the other side, like I think the ability to talk about difficult things affords me joy. Like it grants me this freedom and a weightlessness of being that I wouldn't get to if I kept everything inside.
Yeah, I mean, I suffer from depression, anxiety myself, and I've got over addiction issues as well. And as a friend of mine who I was just speaking to this just the other week, who's suffers from bipolar, and he was talking about the absolute joy that enjoying his manic moments so much, because you sort of you forget that that's such a happy, positive thing, and or maybe you do go over the top sometimes, but it's actually really enjoyable, and he actually really, his medication obviously takes that away from him, and he misses that side of him, which is that's just kind of odd way, because you sort of become such a part of you. I mean, I kind of in a weird way kind of miss my really down moments, and sometimes that reaching those depths can be, you're allowing yourself to spiral downwards, can be kind of a relief to you almost sometimes. I think it's allowing yourself to go with it can actually, in a strange way, in a perverse way, kind of pleasurable. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm saying that the right way.
What I think it is I think it has to do with connection. And I don't know if that feels the same for you, but I know that when I'm like in I rapid cycle. So like my depressive episodes don't usually last for like weeks or months at a time. They're usually encapsulated within a couple hours or a day. And it's like, it's just extreme. But what I feel like is like, I'm at the point where when I meet somebody and they don't have a mental disorder, I'm like, you're weird. You're weird if you
Well,
don't.
this is
And,
it, yeah.
and the only reason is because the world is so bananas. Like everything is so chaotic and so like we're just constantly in a barrage of sensory overload and like the quickness and yeah, the speed of which things move now. To me, it's weird if someone's brain isn't responding and making little neural different pathways to process. Like it's weird to me that somebody doesn't have a mental disorder because the world is weird. And but I mean I get it. And then I think like, well, how much do you drink? Like how much weed are you smoking? Like how are you getting through this? And I think that people who are close to that darkness or close to that deep place, I think they're just connected because the world is really sad. Like they're zoomed into a part of it. What's a And I don't think that we should ever lose that because I think it's
Yeah.
about connection. I think like feeling, that kind of darkness lends itself to like knowing, like experiencing empathy. And I think what is a disservice to the darkness is when you can't fully see the light. You can't fully you're not fully open to everything if you're only zoomed in onto one thing. And so I think that's the curse and the blessing of being bipolar, is that ability to really be present in both. And if I can harness the power of both things and not go too crazy and like max out all my credit cards and like run a car off of a bridge and and not wake up, if I can find a happy medium where I'm able to like be fully present in every emotion and every mood, then like what good can I bring? What can I do with that?
Well, this has been, I actually only sort of medicated when it started to get dangerous and I started to actually be a
Mm,
bit less. That I sort of felt like I had to, but before I was kind of finding, and then I was self-medicated with that, with alcohol and drugs and
totally,
stuff at the time.
totally.
So I'm 3 years clean now and sober. So,
Congratulations.
but it's kind of, I found it was a lot easier to deal with that through sobriety was a lot easier.
Totally,
But
totally.
also having the outlet of music because I'm a songwriter myself, and
Yeah.
that and art, having that art I mean, have you found it's just been such a cathartic thing to have, or just not? It sounds a bit trite to say that, but kind of like it's just having that tool in with which to sort of a conduit to put it through, isn't it? Do you find that that's
Absolutely.
something that's been really that's been really good for you?
Totally. I don't think that I wouldn't be alive if I couldn't like create or make things. There's so much going on in my head all of the time. And it's such a gift to be able to know how to translate it and get it out so that I can put it somewhere. And I used to have this feeling especially like in my early 20s, where I was like, if my life isn't chaotic, then what am I going to write about? Like I have to, I grew up in an abusive household. I grew up with a lot of trauma, and I just kind of thought that that's the way life was supposed to be. So I just started creating my own chaos and creating my own trauma, and like in my 20s created this sort of self-inflicted pain, you know, life that I didn't know that I could be stable and still write things. Turns out there's like a whole well of sadness I can draw from. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's money in the bank, that, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, talking about your sort of your early years of childhood and that kind of, was there always music though around at that time, or does that, or poetry and that kind of thing, did that come later, or was it always a part of your upbringing?
Well, my mom's a singer-songwriter, and she had like a song on the radio in college, and but she has really bad stage fright. So she really didn't start performing until like she only really performs in like church choir and choirs and things like that. But she was a I watched her turn her trauma and her sorrow and her grief into like melody, into beautiful song late at night, after she thought we were all in bed. And she had a series of abusive, violent partners, and so those people were always in and out of my life and in and out of her life. And it's unfortunate. I wish it hadn't happened, but at least I got to see a sort of recourse of how to address some of that pain. And so as I remember, like there was like they were fighting pretty violently one night, and I ran into my room. I must have been about 5 or 6 years old, and I had this little Casio keyboard, and I just started writing a song, and I just said, "You're gonna be okay, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna be okay." And it was like the first moment of like self-soothing, but also like, oh, I can take this hurt and this fear and this anxiety and pain and put it into something that's beautiful. And that's all I've ever wanted to make, is just things that sound beautiful and just be surrounded by beauty.
That's what I think that's definitely comes across, and in your delivery and everything, the way that you put the songs together, especially on on the last on the Grief Creature album, where you've read that sort of. I think I've read a little bit about that and some interviews and things, and I could see that you produced that yourself. Kind of the first time you sort of found your own voice as such, or you kind of really felt like you were kind of landing. But there's moments of that all the way through what you've done, and whereas maybe in the sort of well to the edge of my body time, you were really screaming it from the rooftops, and you were really like I mean, you had a really positive message and a really important message to tell at that time. Seems like now maybe you're settling into a kind of a calmer way of saying the same things.
Yeah.
Would that be a kind of a fair reflection?
Yeah, I think it's funny because spoken word, when I discovered spoken word when I was about like 18 or 19, and it was up until that point I thought that every poem I wrote had to rhyme, and it had to, kind of disguise, what I was actually saying. And I went to a slam for my first time in Seattle and thought, "Oh my God, they're swearing." And they're not just swearing, but they're saying exactly what happened to them. Like, how fucking freeing is that, to say exactly what happened to you and swear? Like, that's so
Yeah.
cool. And so I think for those first couple years, I was so excited about the art form, to be able to just say something really raw and explicit. When previous to that, like when you write a song, there's some elements of rawness to it for sure, but you're still structuring it. There still has to be a structure. Even if there's no structure, that's still a structure.
Yeah, and there's kind of
And
I feel like you're more encouraged in that art form to kind of use metaphor, and you're kind of blunting the instruments, like just it naturally feels like you should do that to make it more poetic,
totally.
or more kind of it sounds like if it's too jagged, it's yeah. But I can get what you mean, because I sort of discovered Scroobius Pip, who really kind of got me into spoken word
Mm,
stuff, and I just loved the way that he did things. And I had a very bad stutter when I was young, and to hear him doing that, and his got a very bad stutter, and it was something I reconnected with, and it's something I've never had quite the balls to actually go and do myself. But I loved it. I
you
really loved the art form.
should.
But I know, well, I think it's. I mean, listen to yours. I mean, the first thing when I heard that Welcome to the Age of My Body EP was like, my daughter has to hear this. Maybe when she's older, but she has to hear this. She's only 7 now, so but it was like there's so many positive messages in there and so many things, and also the message of it that it's okay, that it's okay not to be okay is a kind of a well used phrase over the last, especially the last few years. There's been such a kind of a drive to speak about things, but you were
Mhm.
doing this like sort of before. Well, you were doing this before, and it was you were one of the pioneers of doing all that. um what did that feel like, doing that, like doing the same love thing with Macklemore, and you were really kind of felt like you were kind of just emerging. That time of your life like, in that way?
I mean, it felt like how it just kind of, it felt like, how is this possible for this to happen to me? You know, I was working 3 jobs. I was bartending and waitressing and like just hoping to kind of get out of poverty. And I like a year before Same Love came out, I was like sleeping on my friends' couches and like sleeping in my car. And I'd just gotten over like my own addiction problems. And I mean, it felt very odd that in 2 years after that, I'm like singing at the Grammys, like
I was
that's
going to
what
mention the Grammys thing because that was crazy. I mean, what did that feel? What did that feel like? I mean, that's a stupid question, but I mean, I can't think of any other way to put that. But to
Well, I've never been married or had like a wedding day, but I feel like the way that people talk about their wedding days, that's kind of how it felt like, where it was like there's so much build up to it, and then when you're in it, it's just like happening really quickly, and you're like, I want to hold on to this. I'm trying to hold on to this, and I want to remember this the rest of my life, and I know this is so important, but it really does happen in just an instant. But there are a lot of great stories from that day and around that time that like I'll never forget. And I remember this one. I was my manager at the time. We were like walking, but like in the what would you call it? Like the underbelly of the Grammys, like, to get back to our seats after performing. And there was like it was like the sea parted, like everybody kind of parted because Julia Roberts and Paul McCartney were walking like arm in arm, and everybody was just like, and my manager thought he was talking to me, but I was walking somewhere else. And he said, I can't believe that's Paul McCartney. And then Keith Urban goes, I know, right? It's like everybody has that sort of like moment. I mean, it was just like it was like something out of a movie, like a dream. I'll never, ever, ever forget it, and I will never. It's just I can't believe I got to experience something like that.
I mean, those guys are kind of like they're the kind of famous that famous people think are famous. It's like,
Exactly, exactly.
so what was it
Yeah,
like when you were Madonna was just sort of stood next to you and you were singing her lyrics and she was singing your lyrics, and what was that
wild.
pinch
Well, we
yourself
had
moment?
we had 4 rehearsals beforehand, so we got to get to know each other, and I remember just like every time I walked into the room, I just start sobbing. Just that it was like not just the substance of it, not just that it was all happening, but that like I would walk in and I could hear the full choir singing these like lyrics that I had written, and this in this moment that it meant everything to me. It meant like fighting for equality. And like, I walked down the street and had somebody like throw a cigarette at me because I was holding hands with a girl. Like, this was my life. I cried every day in church for a year. Like, this was my story. And to hear like a full-blown choir like singing these lyrics, and then to like teach Madonna like the how I sing my line. I was like, I feel like this is not right. This shouldn't be happening. But it was just such a surreal, beautiful moment. And I felt like we got to be the I don't know, we got to have this little soundtrack to this very specific moment at this very specific time. And I think it did something. I think it was pivotal for, a lot of people to hear a song about like gay marriage and about like same-sex love on the radio everywhere. It was truly like a moment, and to be able to be like the voice of that was like, who gets to say that? I don't
Yeah,
so I feel like every step I've done since then is like I want to honor what I've been given. Um I want to make sure that I'm like caring for this gift and this platform in a way that like honors the path.
yeah, absolutely. No, it was. I mean, it's just. Oh, you can see in your face like this. You know you're. I can. I'm watching. I'm thinking she's playing it cool here, but she must be absolutely freaking out inside. But you would look like you were kind. Of, oh, you would look like you were totally just meant to be there, and it was like you pulled it off. But I thought there's no way that she's calm inside doing
No,
this.
I was screaming. I almost threw up.
Oh, really? On Madonna.
Yes, like right before I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna get sick right here. The curtains went up. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
What an amazing thing to have happen. Absolutely fantastic. But well deserved. I have to say that at the same time because you know, doesn't say much about, but you did sound a lot better than Madonna. Um, and you know what I'm talking about. But but on the Welcome to the Age of My Body EP, the Sarasvati, is it? Is that how you say it?
Mhm.
That
So
I mean, that
Swati.
song was absolutely blew me away when I heard it. Absolutely beautiful, that
Thank
song.
you.
So such a beautiful. Tell me a little bit about that
Yeah,
song.
I wrote that song when I was in college. So I went to like a conservatory style school. It was a performing arts college in Seattle, and I was taking like a world music class, and I learned about some Indian gods, and Sarasvati is this, you know, god of the river. She's a goddess of music, and then I don't know, I imagined what it would feel like to sing to her. What would I say, you know? And um that I think that song sometimes sounds a little dark. It's I for me it was like an offering to a goddess, you know,
Right.
like I offer my gift and my, you know, my soul humbly at the feet of God, of a goddess, you know, like how can I be of service?
Oh, it was just. I mean, it's just. It's one of those tracks I had to rewind and play again and go
Oh
back
wow,
and
thank
just on
you.
repeat for about for you know. Well, I don't know how many times I've listened to it, but it was fantastic. Really beautiful song. I just have to mention that one. But
Thank you.
coming on to Grief Creature, because I read a bit about where the label kind of said, "Look, we would ruin this if we got involved in it," and they kind of released you to allow it to be what it needed to be.
Yeah.
Um, so tell us a little bit about that, the making of that album, because it's the first one that you produced yourself,
Mhm,
and you worked with Macklemore again on it.
mhm.
Tell us a little about what that was like making that album, because it's such a beautiful album, and obviously there's you're mixing the spoken word and the singing as well. So tell us a little bit about about the making of the album.
Yeah, Grief Creature came over the course of like 6 years, you know, it really I wanted to release it a long time ago, but I knew that I wanted to produce it, and I knew that my technical skills weren't quite there. So I wanted to work. I wanted to hustle and figure out how to like make the best possible sounds I could, and um hone my ear. And a lot happened in the course of those like 5 or 6 years. You know, I went through I had a house fire. I like had a psychotic break. I went through a lot, and I feel like the album kind of reflects the journey that I went on. I wanted to make it a concept album, and I wanted my background in orchestral composition to reflect my ability. So there's a lot of through composition of like the string quartets that I've composed kind of reiterate the melodies that are, you know, sung in the more pop songs, or the just the piano vocal songs. I wanted everything to feel cohesive and like it was moving you through these chapters of my life. So really the first couple songs of Grief Creature are about like childhood trauma. They're about abuse and about neglect and about pain and suffering, and then sort of about embracing where you're at in your mental health, and then what heartbreak looks like, and then what sexual violence looks like it's really intense. But I do think that in everything I do, and like you mentioned earlier, I felt like that was very like astute and like generous too, but I want there to be a through line of hope. Like I want there to be resilience when talking about painful things. And so I think Grief Creature has felt like it feels like my life's masterpiece. It's what and I made it exactly the way I wanted to. I picked the reverbs and the snares and I was like, I wanted it to be me, not just in the lyrics or in the vocals, but I wanted me to be breathing through the instruments and through the quality of sound. And that took a long time to learn how to do and what to do. And I'm just glad that it's out there and that I can kind of breathe and turn the page. So I'm on my next page,
This is what I was going to say. It sort of feels like maybe you've done your apprenticeship and all the things you've done, and this was kind of like, this is what it was all about. This.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
did you feel like it was kind of like a weight off? Did you know when it was done? That's one of the things that is an issue for me, is being able to let go and thinking. But there is something when you finally make that decision, or somebody makes it for you,
Mhm.
often, as in move away from the mic and go and do something else. But
Right.
there's a kind of a weight off. There's a kind of a bit of an offload. Did you find that, or do you still look back and think this could be just one chapter in a continuous album that keeps going?
Mm. I think it was really, I worked in a way on this album that I've never before, and I don't think I ever will again, but it was very specific. It was and very methodical. So I worked from the first 3 tracks to the last 3 tracks, and then I worked sort of inward. And so what was tricky was finding the middle chapters and
Yeah.
what I wanted to say and what those stories were. And that was that track with Macklemore about, really confronting yourself and being really not having anyone to blame but yourself for the situations that you're in. And so I wanted thematically the middle, the meeting right in the the middle to make sense and for it to
Yeah.
sort of cross into the next chapter. um and so that took a long time to find. And then I remember just thinking like, I want to write a love song, or I want to write this very specific song with this very specific feeling. And that was nice to have a prompt for myself, because then I had some sort of direction on where I wanted to go. But that was like, Greek Preacher was one of those albums where I was like, this is done. Like there was a moment where I was like, this is finished, and I don't
Right.
like, I can set it down and I can let it go. And I think there's always that, like that feeling as an artist where even long after something is finished, sometimes it's just now getting released. And so you kind of have to be like, oh my God, my work is so much different now, or my perspective on this thing has changed so much. And but we have to be gentle with ourselves as artists and as people, to just say, that's how I felt at that one time, and I honor my past self that created this.
Well, I think that actually COVID-19 and the year 2020 has kind of put a bit of a halt in people's plans. So
Mhm.
albums have been delayed, or at least the promotion of the albums has been delayed. So people are going to be promoting albums that they wrote 2 years ago next
Right.
year. So there's
Totally.
a bit of a kind of a weird thing, because you're always constantly moving on and thinking about the next thing, as kind of the natural state of an artist is to move on. But we've kind of had this very strange year where it has kind of, it means that it's kind of frozen in time. We're going to be promoting stuff you're no longer kind of inside of.
Yes.
um so next year, I mean, well, first of all, how has this year been? Like, what have you spent the year doing, if, because obviously there's been no live gigs or anything like that?
Well, I worked on my new holiday album, and so that's Happy Holigays. And
I love that. I absolutely love that.
and then I mostly just like wanted to make an album that just said that, so I could keep
You
saying
basically
that.
thought of the title and thought, I've got to do an album now because it's such a
That's
great
it.
title.
That's it, ding, ding, ding. And then I had like this big vision to make this like really classic traditional Christmas song with like, sitting by the fireplace and being close with family. And then I was like, I'm gonna write a song called Seasonal Depression.
That's
So
what people
I mean,
need to hear.
yes. So Happy Holigays is kind of like this like hodgepodge.
Fantastic.
Like it's really a mess, but it's my mess, And
Exactly,
so
yeah.
so I have Seasonal Depression is on there. I do a duet with my
I
partner.
love that title as well, Seasonal Depression. It's just like, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I feel like, because obviously this year is going to be a Christmas, like, it's shaping up to be a Christmas like we've never had, as in everyone's going to be in their own houses. No one's allowed to see each other. No one's allowed to enjoy themselves. And that's for people who don't suffer from depression normally. They're going to be in
Exactly.
this thing. So it feels like you maybe this is going to be the most popular Christmas song ever, as far as hitting a mood at the right time.
I wanted and like the song sounds like it's gonna be like I'm like, I'm I'm very sad, but it's like a self-care song. So there's like little tips in like how to take care of yourself, which is like, as someone who's like a professional sad person, I'm very good at those tips. Like I can I
Yeah.
can I can help. But I also do an operatic classical version of Ave Maria on the album,
Oh,
and like a very
nice.
classic Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And then I do like a country duet with my partner
Excellent.
called Christmas Cookies.
This is, I think, like Nick Cave is going to come through and go, Seasonal Depression sounds like something for me. And he's going to be very disappointed that he can't cover this.
Yes, I worked on that album, and then I've been voice acting. So I'm in
Have you?
a new Netflix movie and series that will come out in April called Arlo the Alligator Boy. And I play a 15-foot tall girl named Birdie. And we've released like one of the clips that I'm seeing on. It's like an animated musical. And it's just been such a joy to be to be voice acting and to try this new kind of art form that I'm not super experienced in, but trying my best at.
So hence the vocal booth behind you has been more for
Yes.
that. It's been more for
Yes.
that. Well, fantastic. What was that like? How did that come about?
They reached out to me. I don't know. I think they wanted, because this character is 15 feet tall and she's a big girl. I think they wanted somebody that like had that experience.
Are
Not
you
that I'm
15 feet tall?
but like the experience of like being fat in the world, and like in what it's like to, to sometimes feel like you don't belong, or feel like you're not like desirable, or people, not being able to fit into an airplane. like it's a very unique experience, and there's not a ton of representation, especially in like for children's cartoons. Like, what is there? Like, God bless Ursula, I love her, but like nobody that looks like me has ever been a Disney princess. And so like being Birdie in this series has been so like healing in a lot of ways, because she's the hero. She's tender and sweet. There's not a single fat joke. There's nothing about like, she's vegan and she's like super strong, and I just love being able to be that, maybe that hero for little girls that think that they don't, that they don't belong.
Oh, that's
And
fantastic. That's going
yeah,
to
I
be
get to be
brilliant.
there.
And you
I'm
get to be a
excited.
cartoon. That's brilliant.
I know. I always wanted to be one.
I've always wanted to be a 15 foot high girl.
I'll
So
take
yeah.
it. I love her.
Fantastic.
She's so tender. She's so sweet. I just love my character.
Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant. That's must be real. That's something really different as well to do. And open a new path. And so you got your vocal booth now. That's going to be you now. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it. We'll never see you again. You'll be hiding behind that booth, voicing all kinds of animals
Yes.
and different things.
Yes. Well, I've been taking acting classes too, because I want to see what else can I do,
Well, yeah, I was thinking about this, about the fact that everyone's doing the online gigs and live streams and that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And I feel like they're just doing a filming of a gig, whereas with the fact that there's a screen there, you've got a chance to do so much more artistically with that screen.
Yeah.
Like you can using effects and using sort of bits of clips of dramatizations and that kind of
Mm.
thing could be really interesting where that goes, because I feel like people are sick of looking at plant pots and people's sofas and pictures on the wall, and you feel like you kind
That's
of
really true.
the next step, you feel like you can really do something with that. So maybe
I
this is where
love
you could express yourself in another way. So you're going to be acting as well, and spoken word and music and voicing cartoons. Can you leave something for the rest of us?
um
No.
I can't ice skate.
Okay, I'll take ice skating and you take everything else.
And I'm not very good at bowling.
Yet.
True.
So Happy Holigays is out on the 27th.
Happy holidays to you too.
And a happy new queer. That's out on the 27th of November. Is that right?
Yes.
So people can get that, and I think Seasonal Depression's out now, isn't it? That
Yes,
song's
it
out
is.
now.
Yeah,
So
just in time to make you really depressed.
So you can just stream that on Thanksgiving.
While you're crying alone in your turkey for one.
Turkey for one. That's gotta be a song. Is that a song yet? Oh,
Well,
don't ever write that song. Don't write that song.
Happy Holidays Part 2.
So what's next after that? I mean, there's tentative plans for live gigs, I suppose, next year.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know.
No
I'm
one
like,
knows
I
today, but
also,
it's a question
also
I
like,
ask, but I have no idea. No one ever has an answer to it now. But you
yeah,
have dates kind of penciled in, I presume. No.
I'm just waiting. I have asthma, and I'm just scared. I'm just scared, and like
I'm the same way, you know. I think
nobody's.
we've got a lot of things in common here. I'm
Me
asthmatic as
too.
well. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, nobody's taking it seriously in the US, and I just feel like I don't know how long it's gonna be, and it's like, the Third World War because people want to wear masks, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's really like I don't trust half of the country, so I don't know if I'll ever leave.
No.
I'll just start voicing more characters, and
Yeah, build an ice skating rink in the backyard.
so I can learn. I would love to tour. I really would.
Yeah.
And I especially like there's just so many places I haven't toured or done shows yet, and I would really like to, but it's just gonna take time, and just who knows, like, what is this?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like just when you think it's over, it's not over.
Totally.
And so, have you done any live streams?
I have one scheduled for like the day after the release, so it'll be on the 28th
Oh, lovely.
on
Well,
Saturday night.
we'll make sure we turn this around and get it out before then. So that'll
Yeah.
just so Sean's listening. He's making a note right now. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
come
That's it.
on down.
Yeah. So we'll make sure that we get that. We get this turned around and ready so that can be promoted, so people can hear that. So how can people view that?
It's on you can check my bio on Instagram and on my website. I have it listed. It's through Stage It, which is like a
Yeah.
website where they host concerts. And maybe I'll be doing skits now. I don't know. Maybe I should do like a whole holiday Christmas skit.
Yes.
Show
Have you
up
got the
as
jumper?
Rudolph.
Have you got a Christmas sweater going on?
I have a vest.
A vest, that's good. Yeah, people get these Christmas jumpers on, and they perform gigs with jumpers. I just would just die doing that. I just can't wear. I just no good. Some sort of Christmas vest or something. Yeah.
A Christmas vest. Nothing but a Christmas vest.
Nothing but a Christmas vest. We get this is.
And I'll get.
So we got turkey for one and nothing but a Christmas vest. This is the track listing is just writing itself. This for part 2. I like the idea of nothing but a Christmas vest.
It's like nerdy sexy.
Nerdy sexy Christmas. A nerdy sexy Christmas.
I'm obsessed.
That's track 3. There you go.
Yeah.
Done. Well, so I'm going to ask you about what's been the highlight of your career, but I think the Grammys. I think we've already mentioned that. Was there another things that would leap out at you as things that you've really been proud of, that things have happened or stick out in your memory when you look back?
One time I went to a restaurant and they gave me a free burrito.
Mic drop.
Like Grammys,
Because you looked,
burrito.
is it because you looked homeless, or was it because you were Mary Lambert?
Because I was crying.
This girl really looks like she needs a free burrito.
It's a burrito. Well, what can I say?
You recognize they'll say you're Mary Lambert. Here's a free burrito.
Mhm.
Does that do you get a special card or something with that?
No, I got food poisoning.
So they give with one hand, take it away with the other. That's all as they say.
No, the Grammys were. It was just such.
I really love your music. Here's have the shits.
It's just the perfect amount of arsenic.
There is a perfect amount. There is a perfect amount.
I'm working on 2 other projects too. I'm working on I'm composing the music for a new documentary called 1942, and it's there's just so much going on. It's hard to keep track. I have like my notes, and I'm like I'm trying to talk about it.
So I have to do that as well. Yeah.
It's about the first time the word homosexual entered the Bible, which was actually 1946 is the first time the word homosexual was in the Bible. Oh, so wow. We're doing a whole document. We're doing it. I'm making the music for it. I have not done anything. Just about like how this all happened and why it happened, and that it was a mistranslation that has like caused the absolute devastation of the gay community.
Yeah.
So,
all right, that's interesting. No, it's not fun. It's not funny. We're just having got such a great time. It's hard to kind of drop in serious points now, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's yeah. So that's so when are we likely to see? When's that likely to see the light of day?
I think next fall. That's where we're hoping for, is like September.
Okay.
And then I'm working on a book. I'm just calling it right now the Guide to Body Positivity, of just like how do you love yourself after years of just absolutely hating yourself completely. Because I mean, I think people, you mentioned something like this earlier, but like there's this like I don't know, this like really annoying perspective of like, just love yourself, just love your body. It's like, okay, if it were that simple, like I would have done it already. How do you go from complete self-loathing, like wish you were dead, like hate yourself, to like think you're the coolest person ever? Like, how do you do that? But I have been on both ends, and I've gone through that journey myself, gone from like I absolutely didn't believe that I deserved to live on this earth and hated myself and thought I was an absolute like disgusting abomination, to like being like, wow, I have a lot to offer, and I could really do some good, and I really like myself, and I like my body, and I like my belly, and I like my my back rolls and my thighs and my cellulite. I love it. I think I'm so cute. And it takes but that doesn't happen overnight. So like, no. How do you get there? And it's not just like Instagram memes that are like just do your best. It's like, here are some concrete exercises of like some mental exercises, some actual physical exercises to practice loving yourself.
Yeah, there's all because I find this as well. I mean, I'm literally having a conversation with my wife before I came on to do this, and it's just I'm at the moment not looking after myself. I'm not looking after my mental health. I know I'm not doing any of the stuff I should be doing, and she's just like, I mean, shout out to the women in our lives for putting up with behavior that is just completely irrational, makes no sense. On my behavior makes no sense whatsoever. She's like, just go out and just do it. I'm like, it doesn't work that way, because your brain self-sabotages you, and it's really hard to get to do the things the right way to get yourself on the right path mentally.
That's
And
that's what I think holds a lot of people back, is this idea that there is a right way, and that we've lost along the way our higher intuition with our own bodies, that like somewhere along the way we've decided that there's like a specific way to move through the world and a specific way to like look and consume and move, that when we're not doing it, we become really riddled with shame, and that sort of becomes like a self-fulfilling, like painful experience. So if we can like begin to listen to ourselves and listen to what our body needs and wants, we're going to be a lot freer, that way. It's not like, oh, I'm not exercising, I'm not going to the gym, and I'm bad and my body's bad because of that. It's like my body's asking me to move in a certain way, and I'm going to try to listen to that and do what those movements are, rather than some sort of arbitrary like fitness goal. And I think that's what I try to get at, that it's like, I'm, I look the way I do, but I'm like, I can like leg press 400 pounds. Like
yeah, I
I'm
heard
like,
this about you, that you're doing
I've,
the weightlifting stuff. It's brilliant.
yeah, but because it feels good. Like it feels right for me.
Yeah.
But there was a period of time where I was like, I have to go to the gym and I have to run on the treadmill for 30 minutes while I hate myself. like that sucks. That's not fun. That's not fun movement.
You get
Now
this
I'm
idea
like,
that it has to not be fun because that's good for you, because it's not fun.
totally.
Yeah.
It has to be painful, or it has to be joyless, and like, no, movement should be fun. You should
No
like
pain, no
enjoy
gain.
it.
The worst thing they ever did is make the words pain and gain rhyme.
I
Because
agree.
if they didn't rhyme, it would not be a phrase.
It would find
It's
something,
evil
it.
tricks, yeah. Anyway, listen, we're gonna have to wrap up because this is too much fun. But we're gonna have to wrap up. But we always ask for recommendation for people to check out, music that people need to know. Who would be your recommendation?
Okay, there's this artist named Ivy Soul who just came out with this song called Southpaw. It's amazing. It's Ivy Soul, IVY space SOLE, and Southpaw is one word. It's like the way that I felt when I first heard Kendrick Lamar. Like, she's that good.
Right.
And then there's another person. I think she's Irish, so I don't totally know how to say this name. I think it's Effie, AOIFE, O'Donovan.
Aoife.
Aoife O'Donovan, and
I
she
happen to be
sings.
Irish.
Oh, great.
Well, I'm from London, but I've got Irish. But anyways, but Aoife O'Donovan. It's complicated. Let's go into it. Aoife O'Donovan.
Yes, and she
I've heard
sings
of her,
on Chris Steele, Yo-Yo Ma, and somebody else's new record. I can't remember. It's there, and Stuart Duncan, I think. And they're just, it's the best. It's the best. But she has her own solo stuff, and but she's also doing stuff with Chris Steele, and it's all good. It's so good. Okay, those are my two picks.
We'll put links to them in the description of this, and also links to your stuff. Where's the best place for people to keep up with what's going on with you?
I update my website pretty regularly. That's www.marylambertsings.com. And I'm pretty active on Instagram. That's Mary Lambert Sings. I think sings. I think
We'll put the link there. It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
And all my music.
You have to worry about knowing your own Twitter handle and things like that. Don't worry about that. We'll put it all up there. It's fine.
I can give you my childhood phone number.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Does that help?
So people can check out you on the social medias. We'll put all that in there so people can check it out.
Yes, please.
And it's been so much fun. It's been so much fun. It's really cheered me up. It's been a bit of a weird week for me, but
Yes, same.
thank you so much. So much. I totally loved hearing your story and chatting to you. It's been absolutely brilliant. And I look forward to Mary Lambert on Ice, which is coming soon.
Never. All right, thank you, Ronan.
Listen, it's brilliant. Good luck with everything, and I look forward to happy holidays. Have a very happy holiday.
Happy holiday to you.
And enjoy
I'm
yourself.
very queer.
And happy new queer. Listen, big love to you and everything, and good luck with everything you're doing into next year. And hopefully this pandemic will go away and we can all get back, and you can find yourself this side of the water and come and see us.
Yes, absolutely, desperately. That's all I want. I want to
100%.
get out of here. Please help me.
Thank you, Mary Lambert.
Bye.
With a desperate hostage plea at the end.
Save me.
Save me, please. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Oh, really cheered me up.
Good.
Been a
Me too.
pleasure
It felt
talking
good
to
to
you.
laugh.